American Drums. How can I help you today?
Just want to check you got something in stock.
All right, what are you looking for, bud?
It's called the Tico Torres Tempo Taskmaster.
And what was the manufacturer again?
Tico Torres Tempo Taskmaster.
Can you spell Tico for me?
Tico.
Then you said it was a Taskmaster?
Tico Torres Tempo Taskmaster.
I don't know if we carry it.
Tico Torres Tempo Taskmaster.
I don't think I have that in the shop. Let me take a look here. So that was the Tapmaster?
It's called the Tico Torres Tempo Taskmaster.
Taskmaster, okay. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything in our system, unfortunately. Might be something we might have to special order for you directly through a company here. You know, I'm wondering if they're not out yet. I'm wondering if it's something that is delayed just a bit. Yeah, it looks like it most likely would be delayed. I'm thinking, I'm not even seeing any info, which is kind of unusual.
Is drummer right? Is it okay to say drummer?
Pounding his pulsing beat into the hearts of all America.
You motherfuckers are fucking all over this joint.
You do your kind of drumming, and I'll do my kind of drumming.
I have no more time. You don't know what I'm up against.
The only things I care about in this goddamn life are me and my drums and you.
The official explanation was he choked on vomit.
You suppose maybe I could put the drums in your place and sort of drop in once in a while?
Now back to Gene Krupa's syncopated style shortly.
Get up there behind those drums, lean back, close your eyes, get right in the groove there, give it a good steady beat.
I got blisters on my fingers!
I'd hit that.
Hey everybody, just want to remind you can follow us on Twitter at I'd Hit That Pod. We're on Facebook, I'd Hit That Podcast. We are not on Instagram or any of that other stuff. Nobody's got time for that. Want to do a big favor? Head over to iTunes. Leave a review for I'd Hit That. To everyone who has donated, I thank you. It has been a tremendous help. To everyone who has not donated, especially the longtime listeners and people who listen to every episode, you're a cheap bastard. That's right. You probably go to a restaurant, get good service, and tip 18%. Go to I'dHitThatPodcast.com. On the right side, you'll see a button that says PayPal, donate. $5, $10, $20, more. We'll take it. It's all good. Thank you. Here's Steve Ferrone. I'm in Los Angeles with Steve Ferrone.
Yes, we are.
How are you, man?
Pretty good.
It's good to be here. And by the way, Ferrone, that's Italian?
Yeah, it's a long story. That's a long story. It's if you got time for it, I'll tell it to you. But I'll give you a quick edit. There was, throughout my life, people would say to me, "Oh, you have an Italian name. Why do you have an Italian name?" And because I didn't know why I had an Italian name, I made up a story. I said, "Well, my great grandfather was a dirty Italian soldier." And he was walking through the jungles in Africa one day, and he came across this stream, and my great grandmother was bending over doing the washing in the stream. And you know how Italians are about great ass, so. But he married her and he made her Ferrone, and the people would do what you're doing now, is laugh and they'd forget about the question.
All right, move on.
Yeah. Then I met somebody who was a German person who doesn't have Austrian actually. He didn't have any sense of humour, and she said, "Okay, so what's the real story?"
Right.
And I said I didn't know, and I started the search. And my mother was always really angry whenever I mentioned my father, asked anything about my father. He came back once when I was 9 years old, and she just freaked out completely. And so anyway, this Austrian woman said that she could. She said, "Do you want to find your father?" And I said, "Well, I'd like to see if I could track him down." Yeah. And this is a way for me to do it without going through my mother. So. She said, "Well, okay, I used to work at United Nations, and I know these people in Sierra Leone." So she started a hunt for my father. And so Sierra Leone being a fourth world country, they going through the paperwork. I figured it's about the same age as my mother, roundabout. So they started looking for this guy Ferrone, and they said, "Can't find him. We need his date of birth. Can you give us his date of birth?" Which meant that I had to go to my mother, and I said to my mother, I started looking for my dad. "What do you want to do that for?" Immediately angry again. She was she never let go of that bone. And I said, "Well, I have a right to know. My children have a right to know, and we want to know about that side of the family. So cough up the information." I said, "I need to know his birthday." And she said, "Well, I don't know his birthday." On my birth certificate, when I went to get my first passport, there was a bit of a strange thing happened. Was I gave them my birth certificate, and they said that it was invalid because it had been altered with an ink pen. Ferron, and an E had been added in ink pen, and they said that they had a record of a Ferrone with an I being born on my birthday and in my address, but no Ferrone, or what they called it, because they pronounced it Ferrone. My parents pronounced it Ferrone, even though everybody still calls me Ferrone. So I said to my mother, I said, well, you know, they can find. I said they said it would just be more difficult without the birth date. So if you don't have the birth date, that's not going to, you know, help. But they said they could find it, and I said I gave them both spellings of the name. She said, what do you mean both spellings of the name? I said, Ferrone. She said, well, your father's name's not Ferrone. Your father's name was Nicholson. I said, so where did Ferrone come from? There was this midwife when I was born. And, okay, being unmarried and having a child in 1950 was already unpopular enough, you know, was started to... Unmarried and having a child with a black man was even...
Okay.
Was unthinkable. So when I came out, I didn't have colour. So she said, we're saved. He looks kind of Italian. He's got a little bit swarthy like an Italian. And she'd been to see this Alfred Hitchcock movie called Lifeboat. And in the Lifeboat, there was a guy at the back of the boat, and his name was Ferrone. And they could never remember his name.
Get the fuck out of here.
So she said, why don't we call him Tony Ferrone? And my mother wanted to call me Stephen. My grandfather's name was Anthony. So my two middle names, Stephen Arthur Anthony Ferrone. Alfred Hitchcock named me.
That's brilliant. From Lifeboat. Ferrone from Lifeboat.
Yeah.
You know, growing up, I always thought it was Steve Ferrone, and then people would correct me. No, I think it's Ferrone.
Yeah.
So you grew up, it was Ferrone?
My mother always pronounced it Ferrone.
Okay, because so in school, you were Steve Ferrone.
What happened was that when I took colour, they felt stupid. Here's this black kid with an Italian name. So we'll change the I, Ferrone, to an E, and call him Ferrone.
Wow.
Well, all the kids at school, hey, Ferrone, would call me Ferrone anyway.
Right.
You know, if somebody asks me what my name is and I say Steve Ferrone, they say what? If I say Steve Ferrone, they get it right away.
Yeah.
In proper Italian, it's Ferrone.
Yeah.
So I say Ferrone. When anybody asks me, I say Ferrone.
So do you feel any connection at all to Italian roots whatsoever? Or?
You know, I went to live there for. I went there for when I was a young man, like 17 years old. I went there for a week and I stayed there for 3 years, and I learnt Italian very easily. And I figured that it must have been because of my Italian heritage. I guess I was just smarter than I thought I was.
Where were you?
I went to Rome, and then I went to Milan, but I've been all over Italy, from Sicily to Switzerland. And
but you stayed for 3 years in Rome, was it? Or?
Well, 3 years in Italy.
Just moving around?
Oh, moving around.
Were you playing music?
Chasing girls.
Chasing girls.
Chasing girls, playing music.
How'd you do?
Pretty good. I did pretty good. Yeah.
Did you get tied down at all? Well,
no.
Never?
No.
Always floating?
Always floating. I floated around Italy. I didn't get tied down too much later. But
all right, we're going to jump around a lot. That's how we do it. Now, you did the last tour that George Harrison did. Am I right? Was that the tour of Japan?
Yeah.
Tell me about that tour.
Well, I was playing with Eric Clapton at the time, and we were playing at the Albert Hall, and George always used to come down and visit. And just come and hang out with us, and he was back in the dressing room. We were all in there getting ready to go on stage, and George was saying to Eric, I've been offered this tour in Japan, and Eric said, "Great." He said, "Well, I haven't got a band." So Eric said, "Well, I'm about to take some time off. Why don't you use my band?" He said, "Can I do?" He said, "Would you guys like to come with us? Come with me?" And I was like, "Yeah."
You're there. You're in the room.
Yeah, we're all in the room. We're all in the same room. This is the same dressing room. And so George put that together, and then Eric came along too. But I don't think Eric was too thrilled about coming on that tour, because he was pretty miserable for the for the whole trip.
He was the grumpy one.
Oh, very grumpy. He was very grumpy.
He was a very grumpy man.
He was very, very grumpy on that.
Yeah.
Very, very grumpy.
Yeah.
And it's, I don't know what it was, whether there was, because George was such an outgoing person. He would call up the band and he'd say, he'd stay in he'd get a presidential suite with this ginormous sort of conference room for a living room, and he'd call up everybody and say, listen, I've just ordered up like a ton of Chinese food, why don't you all come up? And we'd just go up and hang out with him, Yeah. And Eric wasn't that sort of a person at all, and I think Eric might have felt a little bit like, he's stealing my band, not just my band, but my band's affection.
Was Eric ever there at these hangs?
No.
And Eric Clapton never did anything like that?
No.
Never.
Just not Eric. No.
Right.
No.
George, pure class.
Yeah.
Did he enjoy the tour?
George loved it.
He did.
The ball, yeah.
Why do you think he didn't keep it going at that point?
I don't think that was the. I don't think that was the.
That was never the idea.
Never the idea. Just to go do this one.
It wasn't like, let's see how Japan goes and maybe we'll do.
No. We did one other gig after that in London. We went back and played the Albert Hall with that band.
Right.
Well, almost that band, because Nathan East was at that point I think he was running around with Phil Collins, and he had to go and do Phil Collins. So George, very, 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 very cool guy. He said, who do you think? Who do you think would like to play bass on this thing? And he didn't just order up a bass player, which he could have done. He said, "Who would you like to play with?" And I said, "Well, I've got a friend in New York who'd love to do this gig." And he said, "Who's that?" I said, "Will Lee." So Will, call up Will. So, you want to come and play with George? And, so he was there.
So did George said call him? He told you?
Yeah. And then George. I think George called him. Personally. Yeah.
Wow.
He's that sort of person. He's a great guy. Yeah.
Now, but Eric Clapton, you spent a long time with him.
I was with him for about, I don't know, maybe 9 years, 10 years, something like that.
Now, I know you've discussed this, I mean, in other places, but I mean, the idea that, was he always that grumpy guy for that?
No,
No,
I can't say that. No.
Yeah, it started off in the beginning that he was.
Yeah, in the beginning he seemed pretty happy. I think from what I hear, many of them, other guys that have played with him, he sort of goes through a period of being very happy with the band, and then he goes through a period of being miserable with them. And then when he's never miserable with them, he says he's going to retire. And then he cans the band, and then he starts another band.
Right.
And sometimes he calls some of the guys back, and sometimes he doesn't.
Right.
Yeah.
But he was not the greatest boss. You didn't really enjoy your time. You had enough.
I'd had enough. Yeah.
You had enough.
When all this went down with at the end of we played at the Dodger Stadium, and I sat there and I watched. Every member of the band walk in, basically, and there was a gripe, and the joy of that band was not just a great band; it was a happy band. We loved playing together. We're family. We're still in touch with everybody in the band, and when I saw everybody sort of walk in, and there was always some little thing that was the joy had sort of gone out of it.
A black cloud just hung over.
Yeah,
everything.
It was.
And was it all his moods and temper? Was it that? Was it just?
I think as with most bosses, things always trickle down from the top. They trickle down from the boss. No matter who's bringing the message.
Right.
It usually comes from the top.
Yeah. So he just wasn't a cool guy. Wasn't a friendly guy. Wasn't a.
I can't say that because I've had moments of great friendship with Eric, and then there's been moments when it's just sort of turned off.
Cold.
Yeah, I don't know.
Was he removed? Was that it? Was he too removed? Was he in this other area and the band was over here? And
no, I don't think that was never the case. It sort of became really sort of super critical of everybody's sort of lifestyle, what they were doing, and
really, he was getting critical of other people's.
Yeah, and
why was he high on the horse? Was he sober at the time? Idea. Was he sober? Was he?
He was sober. Yeah, he'd been sober for a while.
So that was part of it. Maybe he was just like
could have been.
Looking down on people.
I think basically, Eric's had quite a life, and I try to understand somehow where he comes from, and Clapton is God. He's had a lot of people like with their noses up his butt, and he's had a lot of life experiences, some wonderful and some really not so wonderful at all, from childhood stories, and read his book, and to deal with all those things, and alcoholism can give you some quirks, So I don't think he's a bad man at all. I don't think he's a bad man. Sometimes a little misguided about stuff, a little sort of unfeeling about other people's feelings, maybe sometimes. Damn. But I don't think he intentionally goes out to do that stuff. I just think that it's quirks. I mean, Lord knows, you're not talking to a picture of you just witnessed me almost losing it.
It's funny. We won't go into detail. But I'll say this much: Steve Ferrone doesn't take any shit. I witnessed this.
Yeah, well,
he does not take any shit, and that's what I'm equating here. I'm going. You must have held it in for a little while back then.
Well,
was it a different Steve Ferrone? In other words, at that point,
I was a different guy back then too. I mean, I didn't get sober until a couple of years after all that finished. But it was. I can't say that things ended really, really pleasantly with that. I mean, there was certain things that I thought were just kind of strange, like the accepting 6 Grammys and sort of forgetting to thank the band, just thank the guys that played on the record. Yeah. And we had a conversation about that, and he didn't seem to think that was necessary to apologise to anybody for. And I really wasn't asking for an apology. I was just telling him how everybody was feeling. But
he just stood his ground. He wouldn't give in.
No, I mean, I don't know what goes on inside of his head. Sometimes it's a little bit strange sometimes.
Yeah. But as you were saying, big star, big guy, big life, and then there was George Harrison, and it was this complete difference.
Well, we're all different. Everybody handles their stuff differently.
To jump around again, let's go to Duran Duran.
Yeah.
How does that happen for you?
Well, that happened. I was in New York, and I was working on Saturday Night Live and being a studio musician.
Let's talk about that for a second. That's right, Saturday Night Live. Since you brought it up, now how does that happen?
I got a call.
Was that G.E. Smith at the time?
G.E. Smith was the band leader, but it was Howard Shaw that called me for the gig to do the gig if I was available to do it.
Where were you living at the time?
In New York.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I.
Who did you replace? Do you remember?
This was the first year. I don't know who was playing before that, because I don't think it was really it was a new broom. There was this new, because I think it was GE had started. That was when GE started to be the band leader.
Was this the year Lorne Michaels was out?
That was the year Lorne Michaels came back, and that was the first show was Madonna. So GE was there. There was some of the older guys that had been there.
Was that T-Bone on bass? Was it?
Yeah, Tommy Walk was playing bass, and Leon Pendarvis. Mm-hmm. He was there, and well, I mean, a lot of the guys that are still there now, were there in the band, and Bird. I was there for. It was my seat for I think about 3 years or 4 years. But as I stayed there, I did the first season, and then the second season. We were upstairs in the first 2 seasons, and then we moved downstairs. They moved the band downstairs. We used to have to go upstairs to this, play on the top of this, and then they moved the band downstairs into the middle again. And I was there for that. But at that point, I started to get busy. I got Artie Smith, my guy did drum teching in New York, a studio guy, so it's kind of like drum doctor in New York. Artie said to me that he'd been working with Duran with John Taylor on some stuff, and John was talking about putting Duran Duran back together, and he said that I gave him your number because they said they were looking for a drummer to do something, and John called me up and said, we're still trying to put this thing together. You want to come and play with me and Nick? So I went to London, and we went into the studio and we started messing around with some sounds and some grooves and stuff. And
what did they tell you as far as is it Roger, the drummer?
He apparently he'd retired and had become a farmer, and just didn't want to have anything to do with the music business anymore.
Just left.
I mean, I was just being hired anyway, so it made no difference to me. I was just being hired for a gig.
But this wasn't a Nile Rodgers thing, by the way.
Niall didn't show up. We started working on songs, and then Simon showed up and started working on songs with us, and we started to put together. We came up with Skin Trade and Notorious, and Simon changed some chords and started to make something. I was really impressed with how it didn't really sound like Duran Duran until Simon opened his mouth and started singing, and that's then it sounded like Duran Duran.
Yeah.
And
this was an off season from SNL, or you had a sub at that point?
I think I get sub. They get subs. They say I couldn't do it, and they get people to come in and play. I think Chris Parker would go and play, and some other people.
Right, Chris Parker. That's right. Yeah. So you'd fly to you fly to London. You're there. You're doing that, and you're thinking, this beats SNL.
No, not at all. I mean, that never came into it. It was just it was a job. It was just a job. It was paid more for sure.
This is what I mean. Yeah,
it was a studio job.
Was it nice to be back home?
Yeah, I was enjoying myself.
I mean, I don't know if that's really home for you though, London.
Well, I enjoyed London. I can't say I didn't enjoy it, and I think it was around that time that I met my fourth wife, and she was British, and her father owned a pub.
Hey.
Yes. So I was spending quite a bit of time there in London recording, and then at some point during the recording, then Niall came in and started to rearrange, put finishing touches, and redo things, and
now that must have been a good time.
That's always a great time,
because I read his book. Yeah. I mean, he said those boys could party. Duran.
Yeah.
You were partying, obviously.
I was partying. I don't think that they were partying as much as they had done before I got there.
It was toning down.
Yeah, they were. I think I was like 35, I think, and so they were probably approaching the 30s, and then the real young years were fading.
Right. Wasn't too hardcore.
Nick was married. John had a girlfriend. Simon was married, and so things were more business, more getting down to business and lifting the band off of the ground.
Right.
At that point than before.
Yeah.
And but
it clicked with those guys. You really.
Yeah, I had a great time working. I really had a great time working with them.
Because you spent a long time with them.
Yeah. Year and a half, maybe, something like that.
I thought you did more with them.
No, it was, because I did do more with them, but I did the Notorious album, and then I did the Notorious tour, and then I recorded Big Thing with them, but I didn't tour with them anymore.
Okay.
And it was during that period with them that I met Eric. I was at Bob Geldof. We were all at Bob Geldof's knighthood party, and everybody was just sort of hanging out, and loads of people, and Phil Collins was there. Phil Collins came over. He asked me if I'd ever met Eric, and I said, well, I've met him once before with Average White Band, but just a quick hello, that was about it. She said, oh, come over and meet him. So I went over and sat down and was sitting there with Eric, and somebody else was there, and we all sat there, chit-chatted a little bit, and I said, well, I better get back over to my lot over there, and it was a couple of weeks after that I got a phone call about going and play with Eric, and go and play a couple of shows with Eric.
So there was never any audition for that?
Well, I think that was the audition. Actually.
Yeah.
I mean, it was. I went. We played a little club in Boston and a club in New York, and Greg Fillinganes, Nathan East, and myself.
With Eric?
Yeah.
In a club?
Yeah.
What club do you remember?
I don't remember.
And was it unannounced, one of those?
Yeah. And we rehearsed in Boston, and then we went and played this club, and then we went and played the other club, and that was it. And I thought, well, that was fun. I didn't know Eric hadn't done anything in years.
Yeah.
And I thought it was just we just wanted to play, and that was it. I was going to go back to my life, and then I got a call with an enormous bonus check, and I'm like, but that's not what I asked for to do this show. And they said, well, that's what we want to pay you, and we want to know when you're available. So the following year was spent with Duran Duran, and when I wasn't working with Duran Duran, I was working with Eric, and I spent about a total of 3 weeks at home the following year, and that was when I had to just call up and say, Saturday Night Live, I love you guys, but I don't want to hang you. You should get somebody to fill that seat. And I think that's when Sean came in.
Now hold on a second, because you're doing Duran Duran in London. That's where that's all happening. Usually, that's
I was doing it all over the place. I mean, we went to Japan and Australia and
so
United States.
Touring,
yeah,
right.
And then I was doing the same thing with Eric.
And doing the SNL gig.
Well, I couldn't get. I didn't have time to do the SNL there, and that was when I thought it was just best.
But it was still technically your chair, in other words.
Yeah, technically it was my chair.
And they weren't going to kick you out of that. They were.
No, it was.
It's kind of interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, but it was.
You just felt done.
It was kind of crazy for me to hang on to a seat. What am I going to do that for? This guy out there who needed it.
Right.
So I thought it was better that I just sort of stepped down.
And you were living in New York during that time. Where did
I have a very, very good relationship with Lorne Michaels.
You do?
I was invited. I got an personal invite to go to the 40th anniversary. Yeah. I'm alumni. I see actors and other people and other musicians that I know from Saturday Night Live.
Did you go?
Yeah, hell yeah. When it got me a tuxedo, and I took my ass there for one day, and it was freezing cold. And Lorne really knows how to throw a party. I mean, he threw great parties at Saturday Night Live. After every show, there's a party somewhere. Yeah. And he pulled out all the plugs for this one last time. He really knows how to throw a party.
You had a good time.
Yeah. So and then sort of at the end of that period, it was like I wanted to spend more time at home, and one of the gigs had to go, really, it's kind of, it was okay. It was Duran Duran said that they wanted to just move on and start using the percussionists. It was cheaper than me. And
they told you that straight up?
Well, that's kind of what it was. They were watching their economy, because Notorious moved them back to a certain place, but it didn't carry them further. So I carried on doing records with them. I carried on recording a big thing.
But you had a rate, and you said, "That's it. Sorry, guys."
Well, yeah. I mean, it didn't even really come down to that. It was just sort of like that, sort of unfolded that way, and I just continued working more with Eric and with that fantastic band that he had. It was just wonderful. Right. I mean, went from the quartet to the big band with Phil Palmer, and Alan Clark, and Ray Cooper. Tessa Niles.
What was it like working with Ray Cooper?
Oh, he's great. He's great. He's such a character. He's just a beautiful, beautiful man. He's really great.
Was that the first time you'd worked with him?
Yes. Yeah. And Tessa Niles and Katie Kasum. They're just a wonderful, wonderful background vocalists. There's always like jokes about background vocalists, but they were in the band. They were just fantastic. We were great friends. We were all great friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was top shelf stuff. I mean,
it was, and it was a great band. It was a really great band, so I just went on and did that, and then George, and then when the whole thing with Eric sort of fell apart. I just went back to being a studio musician for a while, and I worked with Brian Ferry. Did some stuff.
How did you hook up with Brian Ferry?
He'd done an album, and it was at the beginning of good old Pro Tools, you know. And he discovered that he could move things around and quantize everything, get it all perfect. And so he did this album, and he moved everything around and got everything perfect. And then he took it to the record company, and I think they said, "So what?" You know, basically, the feel had gone out of it. It was perfect, but there was nothing. So he called me and Nathan, and we went over to England, and we cut the tracks in a week.
With humans, he wanted bring in real humans. In other words,
bring in real humans, bring in the human element back into the record, and then he asked me to tour, so I went on tour with him for a little bit.
A lot of flying back to England.
I was still working here. I mean, I worked a lot everywhere. Back in those days, I mean, I would fly to Japan and Italy. I still work a lot in Italy. I still do a lot of stuff in Italy. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't unusual for us to, studio musicians flew all over the planet making records for people. You know?
But you, at that point, still in New York City?
Yep.
Okay.
Still living in.
Where did you live in New York City?
Well, I started off on 62nd and 2nd, then I moved to 63rd and 2nd, then I moved to Connecticut for 2 weeks.
What's that?
Well, my accountant said, I was with, this is Average White Band days, and he said, you don't have to pay any state tax in, so we advise you to move to Connecticut. So I bought a house in Connecticut, and I hated it. It was just, I wanted the city. So I ended up going back into the city and staying in a hotel for a week. It cost me a fortune. So I moved back into the city, and I was 72nd and Columbus, and then from 72nd and Columbus I moved down to White Street, was it?
Oh, West Village.
Yes. No, sorry, hold on. Yeah, I moved to White Street, and then I moved from White Street to Brooklyn, and that's when my son, that was 1980, when my son was born.
Where in Brooklyn?
Park Slope.
You were way ahead.
Yeah.
Of everyone else.
I know. I should have stayed there.
Way ahead.
There's 7th Avenue, and Park Place.
Brownstone kind of deal.
Yeah. Yeah. Brownstone.
Damn right.
Yeah. I could have bought it for like about $60,000 too. Yeah.
Easily.
Well, hindsight. And then I moved back to New York when I got divorced, and I lived in Raw Lee's studio for a few weeks, and then I moved up to Columbus Avenue and 116th Street for a bit, and Robbie Condor was my landlord. And then I got another apartment on Columbus Avenue, and then I moved from Columbus Avenue down to Jones Street, and then from Jones Street I moved to I bought an apartment on 4th and Mercer, right opposite the Bottom Line. And then I had a girl, I met another girlfriend, and I was living between my place and her place, which was on Grand Street.
Yeah.
And during that time, that's when I got sober, and then I started to get bored in New York, because all my life had been in New York had been from like 2:00 in the afternoon till 4:00 in the morning, hanging out in clubs, bars, what have you, working as well. And then when I stopped, I go out and I get bored in the bars until about midnight. I just kind of had it, and early sobriety, not really, feeling all sort of not really knowing what to do with myself and just being bored. I go home and I wake up, and then it was like, well, what do I do now? Well, I guess go shopping. So I went out and I just went shopping. I just go out, buy clothes, and come back with bags full of clothes and fill up my closets with clothes, and so I had this girlfriend, and we started looking for another apartment, and it was the prices, the apartments then had started to soar, rentals for something that we wanted to live in. Couldn't find anywhere where we wanted to live for that kind of money. So we moved to New Mexico. She had some property in New Mexico. She had like 100 acres in New Mexico, and her mother had 200 acres next door. So we had 300 acres to run around, and that was fun. Everyone was like, "Oh, you're not going to last 5 minutes there," and I loved it. But there was nothing to do there, and business-wise. So I came out here, and Nathan East had a house. He bought a house, he got married and bought a house, and his brother was living in his old house. So I moved in with his brother into the other house, and we shared that house. And that's where then I started to work. At that point, I'd started to work with Tom. I mean, I think the Tom Petty gig came through George as well. I think Tom was looking for a drummer, and George recommended me for the gig, and then I got this call, can you come out and play, do this session in Los Angeles next week? And I said, yeah, sure. And so who's it for? And they said, it was top secret, Yeah. Oh, okay, all right, well. And I came out, and I walked into the studio over there, Sound City, and there was Mike Campbell and Tom Petty sitting there, and we started working on Wildflowers. And I've met Mike before because Mike played the last concert with George at the Albert Hall.
He was sitting in, or he played the whole show? Yeah,
he played the whole show because Eric didn't do it because he was still out of sorts from the.
He didn't do that show.
he was still miserable from the Japan tour. So, yeah,
he was sulking at home.
Yeah. It was kind of like that tour. I think that was kind of like the beginning of the end of the band. That was where the attitude started to change a little bit towards the band.
Was he weird with George, or was that relationship totally cool?
As an outsider, I think he and George were very close. But as with everybody, I think Eric can run hot and cold with you, and I think that George had. But George was George Harrison. Yeah, George was a peer, and so that their relationship sort of arranged itself, found a level and it arranged itself. George speaking to Eric, talking to Eric, wasn't like me being an upstart and talking to Eric. And a sideman talking to Eric, and George Harrison talking to Eric is two different things. So I think that they had their moments, certain things, but George wasn't one to hold grudges about stuff.
Obviously not. Yeah. Obviously not.
Yeah.
Was there an MD, by the way? Was Eric, or no? Didn't work like that? Were there rehearsals? Would George himself say, "Hey, Steve, can you do me a favor on that part? Could you give me a little?"
Well, yeah. I mean, it was a band in every sense of the word. In every sense of the word.
So he would do that. He would look at people and say, "Hey,
he's the governor, but you can always make suggestions." And sometimes he would look to the band for suggestions. I remember. We were what was it we were playing? There's something in the way she mean. And we played it down, and George played this guitar solo, where the guitar solo went, but it wasn't the solo.
Right. The solo.
Right. And we finished, and George said, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah, that was pretty good." And I said, "But you didn't play the solo." And he said, "What are you talking about? I played a solo." I said, No, George. You played a solo. You didn't play the solo. And he didn't get it, because for him it was just a solo, So I said, da 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 da, and then the whole band sang the solo to him. So we taught him the solo, and he learnt it. We taught him. It's the funniest thing is that us teaching George Harrison the solo.
He forgot.
Yeah. He forgot it. It was just. Well, I don't think he forgot. I think it was just.
Somehow he looks at it.
His perception was that I played. That was the solo, so I can play any solo I want in there.
Right.
Yeah. And but it's such an iconic solo. It's like you can't. It's part of the song. Yeah. So there was that. But I think everybody would contribute to arrangements, or should we? There was one thing. What was that song? There was one song that we played. Oh, dum dum da 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 dum dum da da same song. There's a bit the bridge. That's me. Was it? Goes. He didn't want me to play that. Yeah. Ray Cooper had to play that. I couldn't play it, so I just had to play time through there, and it always felt like sacrilege to me. But yeah,
you did it, and he said, "No, Ray, you do it.
No, don't bother with that."
But he and Ray.
So then back. Ray played it.
But they weren't they producing together like a movie, yeah. That's a whole nother.
Yeah.
You can't get in the middle of that relationship.
No, but you know, that band was, you know, it was a really it was a special band. It was you know, I mean, Unplugged. It was basically, we got told, you know, we thought we were just showing up for rehearsals for a tour, and then it was like, well, we're going to do this show. We're going to do this Unplugged show. And I kind of heard about it, didn't really know too much about it, you know. And Eric pulled out, he said, well, I've got this idea for doing Layla. And Nathan came up with the turnaround for doing the way that Layla turned around. Dum, dum, it was very simple, you know. We started playing, and he's playing gut string acoustic, you know, and it's like, even acrostic was like overpowering, you know. So, whoa, jeez, you know. I said to Collie, my roadie, you know, I said, Collie, go down to get into the drum shop and just get everything, everything. You know, so he came back with washboards and triangles, and he found these new things that had come out, the split sticks things, you know, the thunder rods, I guess they call them now. Right. And boy, what a lifesaver they were for that thing.
You made them huge.
Yeah. and then you know, so we had like, I think it was like 3 days, and we
of rehearsals of that.
Yeah, 2 days, and then we did the show.
This was in New York,
in London.
It was filmed in London.
At Bray Studios in London. Yeah. And it was fun because everybody was sort of sitting like around us, you know. I was having conversations with people sitting at a table next to me. Yeah. But it was pretty nerve-wracking because, you know, we had to, it was. I mean, I remember Tessa Niles. I smoked cigarettes back then, and Tessa Niles never smoked, and I'd never seen her smoke a cigarette. And she came up, and she grabbed a cigarette from me, and she took a big puff on it. And she said, "I'm so exposed out there with the vocals, you know, nothing to sort of cover you up." Pitch. Not that she didn't have pitch; she had great pitch, but it was pretty nerve-wracking for everybody to go and play that thing.
And it was huge, huge,
biggest live-selling album ever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Would you say that particular? I mean, Layla. That's now a radio staple, along with the original version.
Yeah.
This you know the acoustic. Would you say that is one of the biggest songs you've played on personally? That's on the radio. Like as far as radio plays, where would you rank them? What are some of the biggest ones that you always run into? Just out and about. You're out in the store. You're out in the supermarket. You're out.
Well, you know, You Wreck Me. I come across that. I hear that thing a lot. Yeah, that was so I think it was number one rock. You know, You Don't Know How It Feels. It's a huge album. But you know, Wildflowers is funny because they're re-releasing it shortly, I believe, and Tom, in going back over the remastering everything, went back into his vault of tapes of stuff from that time, and he found these songs that he threw out. You know, he said, "I had this. We got this song with you. I thought it just sounds like a hit already." So he's putting out an extra CD, I believe, with the outtakes, songs that didn't make the album. I did an album a long time ago. What was the name of that band now? God, I forget the name of the band. They had this song called All Night Thing, and I was up in the Fresno area, and they play that song all the dang time up there. It just came on again and again. I said, "Damn, I cut that thing maybe 30 years ago," and And now they're playing it. Somebody found it. I mean, I Feel For You that was something that always comes up. A big hit record.
The Duran Duran stuff.
Yeah, Cut the Cake.
Okay.
Notorious. I'm Every Woman. Chaka Khan, the original one. God, jeez. I was having brunch at the Four Seasons Hotel out there with a girlfriend and a mum for a birthday out in where is that? What is that? The next one out west there. Calabasas, is it? I don't know, somewhere like that. Past Calabasas, just by there's a Four Seasons out there, and we're out there, and there was this guy standing there, and he had like big band arrangements on a CD, and he was singing Frank Sinatra stuff, and then he took a break and he put on Ellis for Lover, and it was Golden Girl. So I first noticed Golden Girl was playing, and I said, "Wow, damn!" And it was Nile Rodgers does his real long guitar solo at the end, and he played the whole dang album. I was dang if he didn't have the whole album, played the whole thing. Anita Baker's stuff. There's a lot of stuff I heard. I hear on the radio all the time. Yeah, they're playing a lot of music in a lot of people's record collections. So.
But I was just curious if you're ever in a car and the acoustic Layla comes on and you're like, "Can you turn the channel, please?"
Oh no, I hear that. That gets played a lot.
But I'm saying, do you ever feel like, or is it always a pleasure to hear it?
No, it's always nice to hear yourself on the radio. I remember when I was a kid growing up, that was the objective, to get heard on the radio.
Yeah. And the first time, how old were you? You would have been.
Oh, first time I heard myself on the radio. Yeah, I was probably in my 20s before they did it. Before 23 maybe. 20. Well, actually, no, tell a lie. The first time I heard myself on the radio was when I was living in Nice, and I went there when I was 21, and that was when I started to go to music school.
Okay.
And when I went to music school,
local French radio.
Yeah. Radio Monte Carlo.
Okay.
I did the bumper from Radio Monte Carlo, which is da 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 da. I did that, and we did a song for the Nice football team, LA Nice. So that was when I first started hearing myself on the radio, local radio in France.
Yeah. Oh,
and no, actually, there was this one before that. When I was a teenager living in Italy, a guy asked me to go and he needed a drum beat for a record that he cut, and that he was going to cut, and he couldn't come up with a beat for this song. And he played this song for me, and it was like this bubblegum music, And so I came up with this drum beat for it, and he said, "Do you want 100,000 lira, which was at that point was about £40, which is about what I was earning a week, or do you want a piece of this record?" And I said, "I'll take the 100,000 lira."
Yay!
And that song was a song called Chirpy Chirpy Cheep Cheep, which was a bubblegum hit all over the planet, and it got covered by everybody. And it's a good job I didn't make the money, because I would have killed myself like he did. He bought a motorcycle and ran a motorcycle up a tree and killed himself. His name was Lally Stott, and Lord knows what I would have done. But I had a good time with my 100,000 lira.
Went like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Hey, bonus, shopping.
Easy come, easy go.
That's it.
Yeah.
Porta Patese Market, go down there and bargain, buy some pants and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever lose it during those years, as far as with the good times, and were there? Did you ever fuck up on the job? Or?
No.
Never.
No.
It never got in the way.
No. Because, I think there was. I didn't actually get round to getting fucked up and playing until I was with Average White Band, and I did that once that I remember, maybe twice, but once that I remember in a casino up in Tahoe. And it was horrible. I didn't, I didn't like playing with that degree of uncertainty, paranoia that I'm going to screw this up. Where am I? The first verse, the second verse. Where am I with this song? I didn't like that. So I used to save up my getting wasted until after I finished playing.
After the show.
Yeah.
So you'd go all day with...
Well, I could start at the very end of the show. That's when I could start. And then I would go off into the night.
But you had to have the discipline when you're on tour. In other words, during the day, you stayed away?
During the day, I was always doing some playing racquetball, working out in the gym, swimming. I always did something. I always stayed physically active. I always stayed physically active.
You were that guy.
Yeah.
Which is, you're really that annoying guy in that way, because it's always that guy. It's like, how the fuck
Alan
do you do
Clark
it?
said that hanging out with me on the road was like we'd play the show, and then after the show it was like I grabbed him and would add these beams that would come out of my eyes and would suck the energy out.
That's what you do. You'd party all night, wake up, and then sweat it out.
Yeah, go to the gym. Yeah.
And you could do that for a long time.
Yeah.
And then it's just you didn't work anymore.
No, you have a good time, but you accumulate, your behaviours accumulate things that make your life not run so smoothly.
I understand that, and I get that, and maybe in the personal life it spills over, but you're saying that all those time in the professional life it never got in the way.
No.
So I guess, yeah, you saved it up for...
Yeah, I saved it up for when I got sober.
For the personal.
I saved up things getting in the way when I got sober, I think.
Yeah. And you were a smoker.
Yeah.
You said through all of that.
Yeah.
So you were also that guy that could go running and do all that, and then you finish and light up.
I used to do. I did. Some friends and I. We did a triathlon, and we each had a part of the triathlon. Mine was the 15-mile bike ride, and another guy. And our training for this triathlon consisted of getting really drunk in the China Club in New York and talking about how well we were going to do. 2 days before the race, I took my bike and I went twice around Central Park, and I figured that's close enough to doing the thing. In my bicycling shirt, you know those little pockets in the back of the bicycling shirt? I had my cigarettes in the back of the
What were you smoking back then?
Newports. And I get on the bike, and the guy did Rodney Underwood. He did the swim, and he came back and he tagged me, and I jumped on the bike. And I started biking on the bike, and I get the other way, reach in the back, pull out a cigarette, put a cigarette in, I fire up, and then I go past people with a fag hanging out of my mouth, and people would be doing double takes, like, who the hell is that? You know. Of course, at the end, I was coming up this last hill, like, going from side to side up the hill, sort of shaking, just about made it, you know. And then my friend David Blumberg did the last the mile run.
That's beautiful.
5K run, was it? It was a half marathon.
So how old were you when you quit
smoking?
Yeah.
43. I got sober. So it was
same time?
No, well, I tried.
Yes,
yeah. That
sounds like a bad idea to do all at once.
when I stopped drinking, I thought, I'm going to stop smoking cigarettes too at the same time. And then I was going to these meetings, and this guy turned around to me and he said, "You better have a cigarette, because if you don't, you're going to drink."
Yeah.
So I went back on the cigarettes, and it took me about maybe another 3 years. So I was 46, something like that.
Heavy smoker, a lot, like
pack a day.
Pack a day.
Yeah.
Did you feel it when you started?
That wasn't heavy. I knew people that did 2 packs a day.
Yeah. No, that light one match a day and just keep.
Yeah.
But did you start to feel it? Was it like that? Were you starting to get? No, you never did.
No.
You son of a! You're that guy. You smiling enough.
Play racquetball, all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
The unbreakable.
Yeah.
Steve Ferrone.
Yeah. Don't do all kinds of stuff with cigarettes.
God, yeah, you really don't take any shit from anything, even from cigarettes. You just don't take any shit. It's amazing.
No, I'm glad I still smoke cigars now. Not as much as what I smoke cigarettes. Maybe one a day. Maybe sometimes. And the thing with cigars is that if I go a week without one, it doesn't really bother me. Yeah.
You work with Christine McVie?
Yes.
What was that like?
Great.
Wasn't annexed at that point, was she?
No, she was still with the band.
Yeah.
She still played with the band.
Did she have that overall vision of what it should be? Did she have this very crystal clear idea, or was she kind of...
Well, I think, I mean, she worked with Todd Sharp, and she had the arrangements of the songs done, and we sort of rehearsed them a bit here, but then we all went off to Switzerland to go and work, you know. And you know, she booked me for a month, you know, and I was finished recording like 8 days. I think we were done recording the tracks. And she gave us a day off, and she sat in the studio and listened to the stuff again and again and again and again. And then we showed up that night and we go out for dinner. And she said, "You're done." I said, "Oh, can I go home then?" She said, "No, I paid you for the month. You're staying." So I had a 3-week vacation in Montreux.
Shopping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, actually, I went fishing. Bought a fishing rod. Went fishing in the lake.
Did you hang with Christine at all, or she just?
Yeah, we go and listen to what she'd done in the day, overdubs.
You were paid just to,
and I was paid just to hang out.
It's not a bad life, is it?
No, it's beautiful. Montreux was beautiful. Yeah.
Have you ever met Stan Lynch?
I met him once. The only time I ever met Stan was at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was that like?
Fine.
Yeah.
I said hello. He said hello. Was it?
That was it.
That was about it, really. I mean, didn't really see too much.
He didn't slip you his number and say, "You should call me."
No.
We need to talk.
As a matter of fact, a friend of mine was he was giving a talk last week. I think a week or two ago in
Florida.
In Florida,
I heard about this talk. Actually,
it was a songwriter talk or something at the university, Florida. So he was doing this. He was doing this thing, and this girl I know from Germany was over. Well, is over, and is traveling around. She emailed me. She said, "I'm going to go and see Stan." I said, "Oh, tell him I said hi." And she went. So she said, Steve Ferrone said hi, and he said, "Oh, say hi back." No.
Talk to me about Howie Epstein.
Oh, Howie! God, what a waste! I miss him. You know, that was a waste. That was a waste of a talent. You know, and he was crazy man. He used to have his own bus and his dog.
He had his own tour bus.
Yeah, and he would travel on his own tour bus, and then.
Wait, does this mean the rest of the band was on one bus?
No, well, Tom had a bus.
Mm-hmm.
I think Mike and Ben, myself, and Scott used to be on a bus, but
Howie required his own bus.
Yeah, but we only took the buses. I think it was like something we'd only do like 300 miles on the bus, and then anything over 300 miles, Tom would get a jet, and then the bus got phased out, except for it became Tom's dressing room. And we now travel on a jet. You know,
but Howie had his own bus.
Howie had his own bus because he used to take his dog with him.
Does that mean it came out of his own pocket? Or was
I think so. I believe so.
Wow, what a life.
Yeah. So he had this guy Lamar that would drive him. He was his driver, and sometimes he'd take his Harley in the trailer in the back, you know? And then. As I said, accumulating the lifestyle started to accumulate baggage.
And did you know all along with Howie?
I knew something was up with him.
He wasn't open about it.
In the beginning, because when I started working with Tom, when I started recording Wildflowers, I wasn't sober. The second part of recording with Wildflowers, I'd stop drinking. The
second part, okay.
Yeah.
So the first part is it like, hey Steve, want to go smoke a joint with me, that kind of thing, and is it?
No, not even. It never encountered. I mean, what happened was I go and work with Tom, and like I said, when I was working at the news, afterwards I would hang. And I remember going. We went to Terra Sushi with Rick Rubin.
Love Terra Sushi.
Yeah, we went over to Terra Sushi, and I was into the sake, and I went, and that was about it. But then we go back to work the next day in the studio, and it wasn't. My stuff didn't reach a crisis point until a little bit after that.
Wasn't Howie Epstein proportions?
Well, Howie was a heroin addict.
Yeah.
And there's I was basically a drinker who would use cocaine so I could drink more. But Howie...
two different directions.
Yeah. Howie's in the beginning, I was more concerned basically with me staying sober than I was with anything else.
Sure.
And it wasn't until later on that I started to notice that Howie wasn't looking so good, and he just wasn't looking so well. And I was in New Mexico, and he moved to New Mexico. He bought a place in New Mexico, not far from where I live, and just on the other side of Santa Fe. And so we never really hung out together. But I'd see him when we worked, and then it sort of came to a head when we arrived in Pittsburgh to do a concert, and Howie had been arrested on the way to the airport in a stolen car with heroin.
Right, I remember that. Yeah.
And we were like, what the hell, And so I think Tom bailed him out and put him on a private jet and he walked into the gig 5 minutes before we went on stage, and started saying that it wasn't his, it was Carlene's fault, and got on stage and started playing the first night. The second night he couldn't stand up. I had to give him a chair to stand up. It was a mess. And that was like when it went down, and Tom told him, I don't care where you go, just go somewhere. After this tour is finished, go somewhere and get better. And we were in Detroit, and he invited me. He called me up and he said, "Why don't you come up to my room?" I said, "Okay." And he'd never done that before. And, at that point, about 10 years. So I went up to his room, and there was silver paper, silver foil, burnt stuff around the room. And they said, "Man, what are you going to do? What are you going to do after the tour? Where are you going to go?" And he said, "Well, I'm going to go home because I miss my dog." And I said, "You're fucking joking, right?" Yeah. Well, I miss my dog. And what can you say? You can't really say anything. And, he went back home, and then we started to record another album. I think it was what album was that we started? It was Last DJ, and Ron came back to record that with us. And then
actually, I forgot the order of things. So he came back while he was still alive.
Yeah. And Howie then sort of showed up, and one of the guys took him off to a rehab. And then a week later, he was out of the rehab, and he said, "I'm fine." And it was like, that's not really it either. And he showed up at a gig when we played in New Mexico. And I went to see him. I saw him in New Mexico. I called him up when I went out there, and I went and met him at this deli near where he lived. And he was fine. He seemed fine, And then his dog died. And then it was a couple of weeks after that. I guess that sort of kicked him into relapse because he wasn't working a program. And he relapsed and he died. And it was tough on everybody. I don't think any of us really knew how to handle it. It was just really, really, really difficult thing to handle. A lot of people were angry, felt anger, that he'd done that to himself, that he'd gone that far. I just kind of felt a little bit helpless about it. I couldn't do anything to help him. Well, he's a great guy. He's a great guy. Great, just talented, beautiful voice, great writer, playing the instrument. He take me one day. Listen, I did on the drums the other day.
He was a good drummer.
Yeah, he's a good drummer. Yeah, he's a good player.
Do you think the job was his to have again? By the way, do you believe that?
I don't know.
You can't say.
I couldn't say. I don't know how far that had gone with Tom. I couldn't say that.
Yeah.
But he, I mean, I think everybody would have been really happy if he'd have found sobriety. I think.
Yeah, I mean, I know, I get it. Who can say? I was just, I wasn't sure if that was the terms. If you knew at the time, like, get better and your job's here for you.
I don't know how far that had gone. I mean, because where Howie was, you don't get better quickly. It takes time. So I don't know what was
sure
how far across the line he'd step with all that stuff.
And you got to work with was his father-in-law, right, Johnny Cash?
Yeah.
I mean, was that weird? Was there any kind of family thing going on during that, or did you not notice anything?
No, Johnny was just terrific guy, fantastic guy.
And Rick Rubin, you mentioned you were working with him a lot.
Yeah, I did an album with him with Donovan called Sutras. I did that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Rick liked you, man.
Still does. Calls me up every once in a while. Last time he called me to do something, I couldn't do it. But,
you said no. Oh.
Every once in a while, he'll remember my name. I mean, Johnny was a real gentleman. Sent thank you notes after the recording session and everything.
Handwritten thank you notes.
Yeah, sent me an album, one of his old albums with a thank you for playing on my album. A real gentleman.
How cool is that?
Yeah. Tom hangs out with some really classy people, man. He's got some he's really classy musicians.
And he's a classy guy.
He's very, very classy.
He's not Eric Clapton.
Well, no, I mean, I can't really go hard on Eric. It's like, I could very easily, but it's not. It really isn't about that.
No, but it was more like you mentioned about George and orders Chinese and says to the band, "Come on up." I mean, Eric would never have done that. Tom
wouldn't do that either. No, I mean, Tom is very. He's like he's a very open person, very, very available to the band. He likes his privacy. He likes to be, when he's on the road, I can't say Tom loves to be out on the road. He loves to play shows. He loves to make music, but he doesn't love to be out. on the road. He's very much a homebody.
Yeah, but do you love to be on the road?
I enjoy being on the road. I like traveling. I travel as much as I can.
You do.
I'm going to Bangkok in a couple of months. I can tell you what I've discovered over the years is to be on the road a maximum. I mean, and that's really an ultra maximum of 6 weeks, and then you need a break. And then it depends on how you work when you're on the road as well. Tom likes the band to perform to its best, the best of its ability. He likes to be able to sing to the best of his ability, and he finds that the best of his ability is better when we play the maximum of 2 shows, and then we have a day off, a day of rest, no traveling. And it's like we go stay in Chicago, and then we fly out, we do a gig, and then we fly back home to Chicago. And we fly out, and then we stay there. And then when we move on, we fly to the next gig, do the gig, and go to the next place. Yeah. And then we stay in the next place for a few days. So the band's always really well rested. We stay in great hotels, could travel well. And he really takes care of us as and not a young kid anymore.
Yeah.
I went out with the band, some friends in Europe, and it was like I got there and the tour manager decided that they wanted the band to sleep on the bus. It's like, I don't think so. So I made my own travel arrangements and maybe got my own hotels. But playing with Tom Petty allows me to afford to do that.
Yeah.
But I have fun playing with them, but I just can't. I can't travel that way. I can't work that way.
We're not doing that.
The last thing I want is for somebody to walk in and see me play, and they say, "I saw Steve Ferrone play the other day. He was looking kind of tight." Yeah,
because he slept on a bus.
Yeah,
it's not going to work now.
He showered in a theatre.
Ferrone doesn't sleep on a bus.
Yeah, it's I think you have to be able to perform well. I think I like to go out and I like to perform well. I like to give my best. I walk out there on the stage and just really play with some energy. And it's like, dang, that band's good. And you got to take care of yourself. I'm not spring chicken. I'm not a kid anymore.
Yeah, but you were saying you exercise. You do.
I exercise. I box every day, pretty much.
Every day?
Every day, pretty much, except Sundays.
No, see, boxing.
Actually, I box on Sundays now. I take Saturdays off.
You've been doing that for a long time.
Tomorrow morning, I got boxing at 4:30 in the morning. Then I go to a meeting, and then I go boxing again.
Why do you do 4:30 in the morning?
Because there's a trainer that I go see out. I go with my son and his boss, and we go out to this trainer out in Woodland Hills.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that's the way it is.
A guy named Grisha.
Because you want to do it with this guy, and
yeah, we go out there. I go out there, and it's when I first started doing it 4:30 in the morning, it was like everything about in me was saying, "What the hell are you doing?" And then I got used to doing it. So I go to bed. Tonight I go to bed about 9-10 o'clock.
Listen, how long you been boxing?
This time, maybe 5 years. About 5 years.
What do you mean this time?
Well, I boxed when I was at school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I used to box at school.
Okay.
And then somebody asked me. I was getting fed up, and I tried spinning and Thai bow. And it was always like I go there and I get really into it, and then I go on tour, and then I come back and I just couldn't get started again.
Yeah.
But boxing, I go over to Freddie Roach's Wild Card, and there's a camaraderie that goes on in there. They're my friends.
Do you spar?
I spar with my trainer, who's like about 5 foot tall. But he's an ex featherweight champion, world champion.
Yeah.
And
so he's quick.
Oh god, yeah. He could finish me anytime he felt like it. But we put on the thing, and he's got me kind of used to getting tapped again. Getting hit, because I used to just get pissed off when I got hit. And then now I'm kind of enjoying it again. But he doesn't hit me really hard. He doesn't. When I watch the pro spar, it's like, geez, that would be me right there, and they continue on fighting for another 3-4 rounds. So.
Yeah, I mean, and same with you. You're not hitting it full force.
No, I mean, I'm not.
Ferrone's a big dude.
I'm a gentle person.
He's a big dude. I mean,
I'm scared that if I hit him too hard, that he would actually come at me and hit me hard.
Yeah. But that's hardcore. You're doing that. You're working out. I'm saying you're exercising every day.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah, still got this.
Yeah, but that's, I mean, come on, you can't cut it all out.
No.
I mean, you're sober. What else? You know what I mean? We're not trying to be a monk. You're not going to pull that now, are you? You know, you gotta still be human.
Yeah. But, I enjoy it. I like that.
Did you have 4 marriages? Is that total, or is there more?
4 total, almost 5.
Are we done?
Never say never. Never say never.
Never say never.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What the hell, right?
Yeah.
Do you think you're here? Are you in LA now?
Yeah. Now. Yeah.
Could you see yourself going back to across the Atlantic?
No. Well, unless I went to Italy.
Yeah, because it's too cold in England, right?
Yeah, I don't know that.
You're not doing that again. No. Italy.
Italy.
No, Italy.
I can live in Italy.
Yeah.
So they have a way of living in Italy that's very.
Where do you like to? Where would
food, women?
No, but I mean, where in Italy would you like to live?
Rome.
Yeah. You're a city.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a city guy still.
Yeah.
It's still there.
Yeah.
But New York, you wouldn't go back.
No, winter. Geez, when I was there, when I left Lorne Michaels' party, it was 3:00 in the morning, and I came out and I walked down Fifth Avenue and lit a cigar, and I walked down Fifth Avenue to 51st Street from the plaza. It was 2 degrees.
Yeah, no, we're not doing that.
No.
We don't sleep on buses. We don't live in the cold.
There wasn't even any taxis there. There was just me walking down Fifth Avenue.
Yeah.
Deserted.
Yeah.
Who did you out of a movie?
Who did you get to talk to at the party? Who give me someone that impressed you, that you got to meet and walk up to and say hi?
James Franco, but I know him. I met him out here a couple of times, and he's a very nice guy. And John Lovitz.
John, who doesn't love John Lovitz? Come on.
That's what I kept saying. He was dead. The late John Lovitz. He's like, and God, who else did I see there? God, there were everyone. Jeez, there was so many people there. But then I was hanging out with. I hung out with Chris Barker a lot.
Oh yeah, Chris Barker. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Is there other things you would like to do as far as in this life? I mean, do you ever consider? I need a break from this. I want to do something different.
Other than playing?
Yeah. Has that ever crossed your mind ever?
I can't think of anything that I'd like to do.
That's never happened. You never went through a period where you said, maybe I should.
Well, yeah, I mean, musicians feast or famine. When there's famine, it's like, is there anything else I could do?
This is what I'm saying. What were some of the things that you thought about, that you entertained doing?
Nothing. I never entertained doing anything else.
You never thought about running a pub or?
No.
Yeah.
No. It's a lot of work running a pub.
So you married a girl that their father.
My father ran a pub.
Yeah.
Then that's when I found out that I really wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah. It's no joke. It's no joke.
I tried being a landlord.
Where?
Here. I used to own the house next door. Hated it. It's like, it takes a special mentality to be a landlord. It's like,
because you got to deal with all the bullshit when they call you and say something goes wrong. It's on you.
My fire alarm is beeping. It's like, I'll change the battery.
Right. You got to do it.
Yeah, and then I got a deadbeat tenant, and I was done with that. Then it was like
they took off.
No, it didn't take off. They stayed. That was the worst.
Oh, squatters' rights. Pulling some squatter shit.
Oh, it's like, God, it was just the worst. It was the worst. It's like,
enough of this.
I don't do that, so I sold it.
Yeah. You don't need it.
No.
There's no side jobs.
Now I'm contractors.
You know how to handle a contractor.
God damn. Give me a break.
Yeah. How long has this been going on?
It just started. I mean, I've been a week without a toilet in the bathroom. And then my son lives a block away, so I go take a shower over at his house. I've got a porta sand there. It's disgusting. I hate it. Even it's mine. It's just mine. But I should have a toilet on there. He promised me a toilet too. He said at the end of the day, but it's not there yet. So
it was supposed to be today.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe tomorrow.
Spent time picking out tile for me and telling me what he's going to do with the tiles and smoking my fucking cigars, and then telling me that I got to pay for stuff.
What kind of cigars are we smoking these days?
What do I got in there now? I don't even know what I got in there. Oh, I got some Grey Cliff.
Mm.
And I got a couple of Cuban cigars. I got
yeah, that's okay now.
No, it isn't not yet.
Well, I'm just saying. Here it is. It's okay now.
What do I have? Wait a minute. I have Partagas Series D number 4. And Bolivar Torpedoes.
Mm.
And that's about it. There's some other stuff that's in there, but I don't remember the name right off there.
What are some other hobbies you have?
Nothing. This is about it, really. Boxing and playing the drums.
Boxing.
This is my life.
Yeah.
I box, I play drums, I go to AA meetings.
Yeah. Who are some of your favorite boxers?
Pac-Man. Pac-Man's very, very
you looking forward to this big one coming up?
I'm really looking forward to it because I really hope that he kicks Mayweather's ass.
You just want to see Mayweather.
If anybody can do it, he can.
You want to see Mayweather get beaten down?
Yeah, he doesn't strike me as such a.
He needs humility.
Yeah, he doesn't strike me as such.
He needs to be humbled, right?
Yeah. And Pac-Man, I tell you what I like about him, he's such a sportsman. He gets knocked out, he comes to. He walks up to the guy and he says, that was great, it was well done. And then somebody says to him, well, what happened? He said, I got knocked out, it's boxing.
Yeah. Don't you think that's a generational thing? And a lot of the older guys, they have that. They're friendly.
Yeah,
the guys who fought back in the day.
Most of the boxers that are down there at Wildcard are really, really nice guys. They're gentle people. I mean, it's like you see them in there fighting, and then you get to hang out with them, and it's like nothing phases them. It's like you think these guys are going out looking for fights all the time. No, not even. Yeah, walk away from it. I really don't want to know. No. But there's a guy named Alejandro Perez who's a really good boxer who goes down there. I love to watch him fight. It's really, really cool. I like that. Who's that Cuban guy? The young Cuban guy's really good too. I forget his name now. I'm terrible at names. So if people ask me somebody's name, what's your son's name? If you ask me, I got 7 grandchildren. I can't even remember their names.
How many kids do you have, by the way?
4 children.
4 children? Okay. Yeah. 4
children, 7 grandchildren.
Wow.
My seed has gone crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what we know about, by the way. Yeah.
Please.
We don't know what's in Italy.
I don't want to know about it anymore.
We don't know about all the Italians. I know. I heard about you.
Yeah. But, they're good kids. They're all good kids. Everybody's,
yeah.
They all got jobs. They all take care of their responsibilities. They're good kids.
I can't ask for more than that, I guess. Yeah. That's all, yeah.
And 3 out of 4 love me. One of them can't stand me. Hopefully you'll get over it soon one day,
yeah.
Well, they always know how you should have lived your life better. Yeah, they might be right. But
sober? No points there? There's not yet?
Not even.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Maybe in time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well. Steve, listen, I know you're a busy guy. I'm going to let you go.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate you having me over today.
No, it's just in chat.
Yeah, it's been a good time, Steve. I'm glad we did this. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, my man.
I did that. What? Do it.